It was the Daredevil Born Again finale, but it won't be the final time that we see Matt Murdock. He survived that gunshot wound, and he teamed up with a familiar face, and none other than the Punisher. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment, here to review Born Again, Daredevil Season 1, Episode 9, the finale. This one was called Straight to Hell, and that's where Daredevil and the Punisher took a bunch of the task force, took them straight to hell.
Killed them, left them bloody. Great seeing the Punisher. Thought he was one and done back in episode 4, but he's escaped the boiler. He's defeated mankind, and he's out. He's out ready to snuff some more jabronis, brother.
Yeah, he's back. We started the episode, we see a year and a half ago, it confirms that Vanessa asks Dex to kill Nelson, who was working on a case that could expose her activities in Red Hook, where she was making all this money. So she took Foggy's life, and now we know that it is confirmed. In present, Dex escapes the ball, and Matt Murdock is hospitalised. So Fisk cuts off all the power. He orders Cashman to kill Murdock, and we see New York, Red Hook is pretty much just put into like a lockdown. The lights go out, the power goes out, no one can leave the city. And Fisk believes that the greatest way to get rid of Murdock would be if it's better to die a hero than live a vigilante.
Speaking of city, better than Dead City, isn't it? Same place, same location. By God, it fucking smokes it every day of the week.
Yeah. Also, Dexter will be in New York City as well. So
no, I tell you what, right?
It's a good location to have a show.
Yeah, it's a fantastic location to have a show. Power was great. I mean, none of the Sopranos. It was in New York a few times, but I've watched a lot of TV shows and movies. I genuinely believe...
Was the Strain not in New York?
Yeah. I believe that Dead City is easily the worst thing I've seen in New York. Put it that way.
Well, I'd argue that the Walking Dead shows are pretty much in general like some of the worst things that we've seen, so wouldn't surprise me. Like, I think the location can definitely help a show, but it can't single-handedly save a show.
Aye.
If your show's shit, it being in New York's not going to help. Anyway, the power gets cut. Cashman goes to kill Murdock, but he manages to escape the hospital. He escapes to his apartment, and he finds Castle, who has been alerted by Karen Page that she needs him to save Murdock because Murdock's life's in danger.
What are you, Nightgown Man?
Yeah, he calls him Nightgown Man. It was some funny lines here. Castle doesn't know why he took a bullet for that asshole Fisk, and Murdock doesn't really seem to know either. But then the ATF officers come in, the task force, and they bust their way in. It's about 15-on-2 here. In the end, we get Punisher and Daredevil coming out on top. They wound North, who seems to be the leader of the crew. Punisher wants to kill him, but Matt Murdock refuses to, and Punisher asks him, "You're going to take a bullet for this asshole as well?" Then the Punisher just goes around basically killing all the wounded, just putting them down. And it was a pretty brutal fight scene as well, just knives in there, slashing, dissecting,
throats, jugulars, intestines, ears, teeth, you fucking name it. The human anatomy was all over this apartment.
Yes, we then see a grenade get chucked in, and Daredevil and Punisher, they dive out the window. A car crashes their landing. Then they're in the middle of the streets. They turn around, there's a car light shining on them, and it turns out to be Karen Page, and they're reunited, and they get the hell out of there. As for Fisk, he's pretty much wanting everybody who's not on board with him to be rounded up. We see that Sheila is talking with Gallo, and Gallo doesn't approve of the methods that Fisk is using. He wants to try and bring him down. He thinks that Sheila's on his side, but it turns out that Sheila reveals to Fisk that Gallo is going to go against him and is going to try and put a stop to him. And then Gallo basically just gets brutally murdered in front of his remaining, I guess, the officers that were on his side. Fisk just bashes his head in and then rips his jaw in half.
Yeah, it's like the Great Khali, man. It's like that scene for Game of Thrones as well. It's just fucking brutal. But you know what? It was done in a way where I'm not saying it's not unrealistic, but I feel like the generic way is just for the head to squish and blood everywhere, but his
This
head...
didn't happen. It's just like the jaw kind of got ripped off.
Yeah, it was like the saw trap, the reverse bear trap kind of thing, man. Just like ripped half the jaw, but half of it stood there.
Yeah.
Which is the way it would happen. It wouldn't be perfect.
I felt bad for Gallows, but, you know.
Indeed. Fucking brutal death.
Shouldn't have trusted Sheila. Should have just got out of there. I think he knew. Once his normal driver wasn't there and it was a guy that was working for the task force picking him up.
He should have.
I mean, at that point, he should have just tried to jump out the car and make an escape. But
I know, but his arse went.
I guess his arse did go. Castle then basically just leaves Murdoch to his own devices. He's like, you know, you asked me to save him.
Through no fucking files.
Yeah, you asked me to save him, and I did that. So that's it. Karen then says, "I know you care, Castle," and Castle doesn't really admit to it. They go through files, and they find out proof that Foggy was killed.
Foggy was killed in DDO, but I tell you what, I've never seen a show hype up a guy that felt so shit when we first seen him.
Yeah, the guy was like a throwaway character, you know, he just seemed like this, I don't know.
Was he in the original show?
Aye, but I mean, he was nothing more than Matt Murdoch's friend and lawyer partner, you know, I mean, that was...
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is the problem. I mean, I think if he wasn't in the previous show, they might have gave him, like, you know, I don't know, a better actor or something. Make the scene in the bar stand out or something.
Yeah, they also discover that the Fisks are trying to establish a city-state in Red Hook, so they basically just want to take over Red Hook and you know, turn it into something like a camp, you know, like a lockdown, pretty much. They want complete control over Red Hook. Castle then decides he ain't looking through files, he's going to take on the task force. Task force try and bring him down using non-lethal weapons, but he kills like a good few of them before getting brought down, and they want him to fight. They want to fight with him rather than fight against them, but Castle says he wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire, and they just beat him up, and then they lock him up in a cage, and it seems that Fisk has pretty much locked everyone else up in a cage who doesn't agree with him.
He's got Dungeski, I believe, is Tony Dalt.
Yeah, he's imprisoned pretty much everyone who isn't on the board, isn't on Team Fisk, isn't on the Fisk train, and he declares martial law and he outlaws vigilantism, and then you just see like all these task force guys going around pretty much shooting anybody. One guy gets shot who was wearing a beanie, and then the guy goes, "Yeah, it was just a kid." Then he slightly pulls down the beanie over his eyes, and he goes, "Nah, it was a masked vigilante."
It was pretty funny.
It's like, what the
R.I.P. kid.
Yeah. He then offers Heather Glenn, Daredevil's girlfriend, the position of mental health commissioner. Matt Murdoch told her not to trust Fisk, but her and Fisk look like they're breaking up, especially after he called her Karen when he woke up from his coma. So she accepts this position, and it's just, you know, Fisk bringing people closer to him, especially bringing someone as close as Glenn to him, probably playing mind games, knowing that it's going to fuck up Murdoch. They then see Murdoch recruiting basically whoever's left in the city that isn't on the Fisk train. So you've got Detective Kim. I think she was like second in command to Gallo, I believe.
She was, but again, it's like she was working with Fisk like last episode. I know she wasn't in bed with him, so to speak, but it's like, see when you had Karen and Daredevil discussing, we're going to rally the troops. I'm expecting all these gimps in masks. I'm calling them gimps, but I mean, at least they've got some form of, like, you know, a power to them. And it's just a bunch of normal fucking jobbers in this bar. It's like, why doesn't Daredevil just take them on him? I mean, like, does he really? Yo, I'm not saying Kim.
Big Cherry as well. Cherry's he's a man.
Yo, I'm not saying Kim can't be effective, right? But we just seen how ineffective the police commissioner was.
Aye, Gallows, he didn't do too well. So
aye, he's like a gallon of blood.
Yeah, so
on the floor.
Pretty much, it seems like all these nobodies. Daredevil needs them. He says, "This is our city, and we need to take it back." And then we get a mid-credit scenes where Castle tricks one of the prison guards to shake his hand. We're both from New Jersey. But then Castle like breaks his arm, and I believe this guy may have a set of keys on him, and this may lead to Castle getting out. And that's it, guys. That's your ending. That is it until we get season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. You know what? I thought the episode started pretty good, but I was a little bit disappointed with the second half. Kind of expected more. I don't know what I was expecting, but I felt like it peaked in the first half.
It's one of those ones that was set up season 2. you're right. It peaked in the first half, and then it kind of just died, and then the lights got back on. He announced that martial law is here. Then it was kind of just like a montage.
Yeah, I'll get a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a decent finale, but I kind of just felt like it left me wanting more, which I guess is kind of good, But I don't know. Not I think I don't mind wanting more when you've got a week to wait, but when you've got a year to wait,
Fuck, you thought it was
Oh no, it's confirmed. This will be 2026.
That's good.
Only
but,
taking a year to make. So.
Looking forward to seeing Frank Castle again.
I will see him burst out, and might be some other vigilantes turning up in season 2, from what I hear.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm getting a 7 out of 10.
I'll get a 7 out of 10 as well. Good show. I think it.
Overall, I would probably give season 1. I'd probably say a 7 out of 10. I'd say maybe a 7.5.
Tell you what,
8.
Not far off Penguin. Penguin's better, but I feel like this show's relatively close to Penguin.
Yeah, pretty good. So we'll see more of this, and we'll do a few lists and stuff like that. A few tier lists. We'll rank the characters and all that good stuff, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.